Welcome to the Dark Room TV podcast, where we give you nothing but that raw entertainment and an inside look into the Bay Area street life. Keep up to date with Dark Room TV and follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Dark Room TV Podcast. Dark Room TV, our show starts now.
Tony, so we're here in West Oakland, and you are homeless. Tell me about it.
Well, I'm from LA, so I was working hard in LA. I had 2 jobs, sometimes 3 jobs, and I was going to school too. My money wouldn't be enough. Like I never had enough money. Every time I would get paid, I would be paying rent, paying for expenses for the car. I didn't have to spend on food because I was working in the kitchen. I became a chef. Anyways, I realized that no matter how hard I would work, it would never be enough. But then I was switching I was transitioning because I was going to school. I was going to become an electrician. So I didn't want to work as a chef anymore. I thought I was going to get more money working as an electrician. So I get to start looking for jobs as an electrician, but it was difficult because I was just inexperienced. And I end up switching to another industry and not finding a job right away and not having enough money to pay rent. And on top of that, the slumlord that owned the building had the building with several code violations, violations, like it was infested with cockroaches. There were fleas during the summer. We didn't have any hot water during the winter. The door was never locked, so anyone could walk in. And then on top, every first of the month, he would appear just one day to get the rent, and if I didn't have the rent, I would have to pay $35. And he was very, very strict. He claimed to be an attorney, so he was saying that he was gonna sue us for $10,000, $15,000. And as a tenant, I really believe it, because by then I had realized after 2.5 years that I had signed an agreement for 5 years without my knowledge. I thought I had signed an agreement for a year, and it ended up being some fraudulent scheme called bait and switch, in which he handles me the lease agreement. I see it, and then he asks me to correct it, and I sign it, and I don't notice that he changed the years. I leave the apartment because I didn't want to pay anymore, and I didn't have money to pay. So I moved into my truck, to live into my truck, because I get a job as a solar electrician, and it's about going to job sites all across Southern California. So it was convenient for me. I didn't have to go back to sleep in my apartment. That's how I become homeless, for purposes of, in my mind, kind of deal with the new job routine, like in a better way, having to sleep nearby the job site and not coming back to LA, and having to drive 2 hours to get to the job site and back 2 hours, you know? So now I have an RV. Once I came here, I realized that people here in Oakland were allowed to, or somehow it was possible to acquire an RV and then move into a place like this one. In LA, it's impossible. Any RV, no matter where it is, will be towed away with a tractor trailer or whatever. They take it away, after the first or second day that it's parked there. So that was never a consideration in LA. Now it is happening here. This kind of norm or rules that cities are applying to the homeless people, including me, myself, it's coming from south and a wave up north in which is making it illegal to be homeless. Now I am an illegal because I am homeless. I feel safer here than in the streets of LA. Like I said, people started stalking me, harassing me. I thought that they were trying to steal my car, and they didn't know that I was in there. But they were not stealing anything. They were not opening the door and pulling something and then realizing I was there. Nothing like that was going on, was happening, and it was something else. It was just some sort of fear tactic or something I still don't know. It's so strange because I would see these guys and they were not living in a tent. I would never see them in any of the tents or places that were sleeping on the sidewalk, nothing. They would just disappear. And sometimes there were guys that were in shape. I mean, look at me. I haven't been eating well. The few resources or money that I'm able to come up with, I try to eat well. Like I was a chef, so I learned about food, and I know how to get the nutrients and from where. But it's still a challenge. I mean, I go and buy fast food. I would have only $5, and I would have to go and get the fast food that everyone gets. So I get that, and then I try to get some smoothie, like green smoothie, so that I have vitamins or something like that, or a salad every once in a while, or fish every once in a while, and that has helped me. When I used to judge people that were homeless before becoming homeless, I just thought that it was their choice to be like that, or that somehow they were mentally ill, or that, yeah, they were poor but they were not working. Well, you know, all the prejudices that one can come up with without really knowing, you know, what could be the something closer to the reality. You know? Keeping a job, for example, even though I'm qualified, I'm a high-skilled worker. I'm an electrician, solar electrician, which is a huge industry that has overpassed, you know, many other industries that were like the most important for energy production. Now I can't find a job, and it's because I don't have an address, and I can't register my car because I don't have an address. The insurance company will reject me because of that, and so it becomes a problem. I get violations because I don't have an insurance. I can't tell the police officer that I don't have an address because he wouldn't understand that. He doesn't care. It's not his problem. So I get violations. My driver's license get suspended, and it's like a snowball of limitations and very unfortunate, unfair situations that keep closing doors and making it more difficult until I'm cornered into a place like this. So it is kind of overwhelming. It is just looking behind you, looking up, looking down, front, while you are sleeping, which is impossible. One of your questions is, do I feel safe when I sleep? I don't. I've woken up at night thinking that there's someone trying to get into my RV, and I thought it was just my imagination. Well, I was being paranoid. Turns out to be that no, there was indeed like someone, which I waited and waited until I caught the guy, and then he wanted to fight, and so it is a challenge. I mean, it has been a challenge for me, and I've learned many things. it doesn't take me down. I feel unsafe, but I am not a victim. I'm gonna fight. I'm gonna struggle. I'm gonna overcome. I've been doing it for years, and I'll continue to do it. I see it as training. I see it as empowering myself to do things that I didn't do before. But for some others, it's just overwhelming, and then they become depressed. They have to vent out, and they get in trouble. You know, and they become, like I don't know, they become angry with the rest of the people that keep treating them as if they were, entitled to criticize and look down on them. And I can't tell them, hey, why don't you come and do it? They would never do it. But it's only until one experiences homelessness that one can really know the truth about it. And I would never judge anyone. I keep saying that anyone potentially, including the 1% of billionaires or whatever you call them, can potentially become homeless if they get sick, if they go bankrupt. So I'm not thinking about buying a home anymore. I used to think of terms of buying a house. I don't want a house. I have a house already. It's a mobile house. So my only opportunity is to acquire land and buy land cheaply, anywhere, far away, difficult access, anywhere. But I can bring my RV there. I can start building my own home. Maybe it will take me years to build it, but there's nothing else to do for the time being. And I'm a builder. I mean, I work in construction, so. Just lately, a month ago, or more than a month ago, the city of Oakland passed legislation to ban homelessness, or people living on the streets and nearby residential areas, parks, businesses, so that there's no conflict. But this place here, it's space that it's empty. There's a use for it, but it's out of safety for the infrastructure. And because of that, if we're going to be living here and there's no other place to go, I think that the best that anyone could do to help us is help us getting access to water, whether it's getting basic infrastructure like containers, pumps, water pumps, conduit for connecting pipelines and things like that, spigots or whatever, hoses, filters, and then power. Power is everything begins with electricity. Even our cells have a voltage, and when we become sick, it's because we have low voltage. So we need power. We can't. I mean, the city of Oakland, the state of California, the most developed state in the world, the richest economy in the world by far, surpassed England 2 years ago, and yet I'm living in the 19th century, back in time. And I can't find a job when this is the state that creates more jobs in the world, per capita. And so it is unbelievable. It's like we can't just have, it's not that it should be banned. Homelessness or someone who has no property should be banned from living, but it's just finding ways to use the infrastructure, to use better ways to produce electricity. I mean, there's excuses. There are excuses from the city for us not to have electricity if we're tapping into one of these poles. Why? Because it creates fires, and fires kill people. It's dangerous. I mean, it's inherently dangerous. So I agree with that. Let's just get solar panels, which are safe. I know how to install them. I'll install them for everyone for free. I know people that would install them for free. I used to work for a non-profit organization. I installed systems for free. So I think it would be a problem. In that, by reducing the liability for the city and for insurance companies and non-profit organizations with fire, so that the smoke and the fire would not burn down the public infrastructure, state infrastructure. Well, let's get organized and build, solar stations which create like a safe power, and can pump water, can suck up water from the water treatment plant that is just like a mile away from here. And we can't have access to a sewage line. And the biggest water treatment plant is just a mile away from here. We're closer to the place where the black water is usually dealt with, and yet we don't have access to a sewage line just because some official doesn't want us to live here.